Okay, guys, we are live. Thank you for rejoining us again. Again, we've got a big lineup today. Following on from yesterday, Amazon announced some news. Restriction on categories being sent into FBA centers. All the guys have been working on various different ideas and hacks that what we can do and implement over the coming weeks, over the next few days in terms of what to do next. Obviously, the main thing is not to panic. So I'll go around the room and do introductions. First one, we've got Michael Hartman, who's locked down in Romania. Then we've got Tim Jordan, who's locked down somewhere in, where are you, Tim?
Alabama.
You're in Alabama. Then User, what is your proper name, User? Raphael, there we go. And then we've got Liran Hirschkorn as well. If I missed anyone else on the call, yes, we've got Brandon Young with us all today as well. So I've got a little bit of an agenda would like to cover. I want all the guys to pitch in and say and do their thing. So we'll talk about supply chain, product selection, diversification, panic and potential. And also, it's very poignant at the moment in terms of the products that Amazon are selecting in terms of what categories that we can use. So they're prioritizing certain categories. And with what's going on out there in the world at the moment, it's very important to understand is that this is going to shape our future in terms of the way that we select products. So there might be less of the shiny object syndrome, and now there's going to be a move towards using more functional products, consumable products, something that becomes part of everyday use. Liran, what's your take on things as of the things that have kicked off today?
Yes. Well, I want to come back to something that you said.
Yes.
But the first thing is, for those that didn't see, you made a post about this today.
Yep.
Amazon is restricting inbound shipments for a lot of products other than like essential health, medical supply, food items. So if you can't make a shipment, it's because there's a restriction. One of the things that you should be looking at is your inventory levels, not just from that. This thing is in effect until April 5th.
Yep.
One, we don't know. Maybe that goes longer. And two, if you start sending inbound shipments April 5th, there's probably going to be a backlog and they're not going to be received. So figure at least for right now, this is for the next month. So you need to ask yourself, do you have enough inventory in for the next month? It could be longer. And what adjustments are you going to make to your products? Some people, I have some products right now that are seeing an uptick. I have some products that are seeing a downtick. For example, I have some products in toys that are seeing an uptick. And that's because it's a $13 product. People are at home with their kids and they need stuff for them to do. So it's an item that doesn't break the bank, and I'm seeing a rise. So I need to figure out, what do I want to do? I have enough inventory at Amazon. Do I want to cut back on do I want to raise the price? I don't want to price gouge, but is there an opportunity to raise the price based on demand? Yeah. Do I want to cut back on my advertising? Meaning, if I have a target ACoS of 30% or 25% right now, do I want to go to 20 or 15 because there's demand for this product? And I have inventory. On the other side of that, if I didn't have inventory in place, what am I doing? Am I raising prices because I'm going to sell out anyway? Am I monitoring competitors' pricing, them going out of stock? All these things are things that you should be looking at right now and deciding what to do based on this current situation. And I would say not having additional stock at Amazon for at least another month. Just to touch quickly on one thing you said was, as far as product selection, you may get to in July or August, September, this may be behind us. So I also wouldn't go too crazy, too far off into making product decisions based on what's happening today, because until you get that product into Amazon, by the way, you have the same idea as thousands of other people that are going to do. And so you may see just an increase of saturation in these types of products, and the timing may be off. So something
Agreed.
to just...
So if I can interject... I can interject there. I was talking about the innovation process and what it looks like tomorrow. I'll go into it a bit later. We're not talking about hand sanitizers and masks. We're talking about other things with the compounded effect of like this virus. There could be another virus next year. And there's certain things we can do if we think about it logically of what's happening, trying to see what's ahead of the curve and think differently from just badging up products. What can we do with essentials? So I'll go into that later with you, and I'll kind of set the boundaries so you get a better idea of where I'm coming from. But I agree with you. Last thing you want to be doing is buying pallets of masks when everyone else is doing them, because you don't know what's going to change on a daily basis. Totally agree there. Brandon, let's bring you in. The skies have been falling on your Facebook page. You got any positive shit to tell us?
Yeah, everyone's saying that I'm the harbinger of death, and I've been the one like warning people.
Yeah, you're the man with the tin hat and the tin foil. Come on, what's the predictions, Nostradamus? What we got?
Yeah, so I mean, the issue is that I think that a lot of people in America don't take this seriously, and that's a giant issue. I mean, where they're taking it seriously, they're able to control it fairly quickly. It could be 30 days, you can kind of root out everyone that has it, get them treated, and then get back to business as usual for the most part, like they did in China. Where they didn't take it seriously and where you have less beds, then you're kind of screwed. So, I mean, the city of Miami, there was an article this morning I just read that Kid Rock is refusing to close his bar in Nashville.
Yeah.
Because it's still a liberal hoax to him or some shit. And this became politicized, right? So, I mean, and in UK, they're not taking it seriously. They're telling all the young people, the actual government's telling all the young people to go out and get it or something. So I think that you're going to have a real downturn in the economy, global GDP, buying power. It's not about what you're going to sell. You just have to expect to sell less of almost everything moving forward. There's going to be very few products and categories that'll do better moving forward when this starts to normalize. But in the short run, you know, like Laren was saying, I've got toys that are doing better than they ever have because now people are stuck at home with their kids and want to keep them preoccupied.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, before the economy crashes, people still have some money to spend. They're not going out and spending as much money. Maybe they bought a bunch of groceries, but now, you know, who knows how this is going to impact the way that the buying habits of Americans. I think it could have a lasting effect.
Cool. Michael Hartman.
Hey, for sure there's going to be a lot of issues, but I don't try to focus on the issues. I try to focus on solutions.
Yes.
And so like everybody is freaking out, like I can't ship into Amazon. What am I going to do? So I'm looking at like other alternatives such as FBM or 3PLs, these type of things, or offering pre-order dates and putting it out a month or something along these lines.
Well, why don't we walk through some of those things for the audience, for the benefit of the audience? Most people here will know what FBM is, but do you want to go through some of the options that can be achieved for people that have done strictly FBA, not touched it? What should be the next 2 or 3 steps quickly for them to shift to that if that's required?
So one thing that we always do is we always hijack our own listing and offer 2 different variants. Yeah. So we have fulfilled by Amazon, and then our second variant is fulfilled by merchant. So in case we ever run out of stock for whatever reason, we're able to fulfill that directly from our own warehouse, which is fulfilled by merchant. So it automatically picks up the buy box from there. Yeah. We normally do charge shipping for that, and we use USPS just because of like that particular niche is like a low-level niche, like $9.99, can't do FBM Prime. Mm-hmm. If your product is expensive enough, big enough, you know, whatever is profitable to ship via UPS and buy shipping from Amazon, then you can still get your Prime badge as long as you maintain shipments. If you are a small mom and pop shop doing like 12 cases a month, ship it to your house directly from China and have a run on UPS doing a once a day pickup or USPS, like giving it to your mailman once per day. This is how I would operate everything from there. You can use that with ShipStation or any number of other plugins directly from your like home computer.
Cool. And Raphael, you've got some points that you guys have been working on today to share with the audience. What are some of the key points that you would suggest?
Yeah, so basically Amazon went out with this announcement at my Israel time, 7 a.m. It was like middle of the night in the US, and we had quite like a full day to cover it with our clients. It's like 6 p.m. here. So from what we know, as long as you have a shipment plan, you're all good to go and you can proceed on with your shipment. If you have an open shipment, you can try add on items to it, all right? It was working as of 9 a.m. Eastern time. You could still try that out, but what we're hearing from our clients that if you add on items to an existing shipment plan, you can keep on adding stock to that shipment. Another thing that we've got from our clients that if you have like an older shipping plans, you can try and utilize these ones because a lot of these sellers have a lot of open shipping plans. Some of them they've used, some of them they didn't use. So you can try and find in your Sales Central like an older shipment plan that you can utilize. Basically, the options that you have is if you cannot ship, if you don't have a shipping plan, you can either ship it to a 3PL, all right, for merchant fulfilled, or to keep it in storage until Amazon will start, rebooting again, and we'll have people sending things over. What we are hearing from our clients, a lot of these clients are asking their suppliers to keep those stocks in China. Some of your suppliers will let you keep it for free. If not, your freight forwarder should be able to offer you free storage in China. That's pretty common practice on bonded warehouses in the ports. It doesn't really cost anything. You can keep it for a month, 2 months. It doesn't really help you if you really need stock. But again, if you have an order and you don't want to pay storage in the US and you want to cut your costs, you can keep it in China. Merchant fulfilled from China. I know Michael doesn't like that idea, but that's another idea to keep your listing active. Just remember to update your transit times and shipping times on your Seller Central. The current situation in China is that suppliers are getting back to work, production is rebooting again, but the thing is, capacity is a very big problem now. Airlines, as you all know, airlines have just canceled, like 99 of passenger airlines canceled all the flights into China. That means that cargo out of China doesn't have capacity, right? Most of those products today go out on a passenger airplanes that we and you fly on our regular trips. In the belly of the airplane, those products are being shipped that car. There's space for cargo. What we've seen as far as prices, air freight prices are the highest we've ever seen them, anybody in China or in the whole freight forwarding industry. That's the highest that they've been forever. Ocean freight works pretty much as usual. Just, you got to expect a longer transit time. The problem with the 3PL in the States, where sending your products into a 3PL and keeping them there, is that nobody can tell you whether that 3PL will be operational or in another week it will be another shutdown and you won't be able to use that products in that 3PL. Yeah. So that's basically the situation we are looking at as far as the logistics.
Okay, cool. That's pretty in-depth there. Going back to Brandon, what would you suggest now in terms of diversifying supply chain? Like, what we've got to look at is that we're trying to fix things for today, but we still got to look at what's going on tomorrow and diversify our risk. What are you doing? Are you solely still shipping from China, or are you actually starting to look elsewhere as well?
It's really interesting because I think that the initial knee-jerk reaction from everyone was to start looking everywhere else, India and Vietnam, Cambodia, like wherever you could get anything, right?
But then it's spread everywhere anyway. Yeah, go on.
And it's spread everywhere anyway. And China is the only one that really has it under control at this point. They're the first ones to recover. Their production's at 75+%. And so they're the safest bet to actually get your stuff again. Yeah. And so, you have a situation where the people that, if you went to India, all of a sudden now you're in trouble because India is now starting to get the virus and they're going to have trouble exporting it. And that's not they don't have the best hygiene and cleanliness standards there in India. And I don't think that they have enough hospital beds per 1,000 people. So, I mean, if it spreads in India, I think that you're going to see massive issues. So, yeah, we're right back in. And I don't think getting it done here in the United States is an option either, because I've called 20 different suppliers. Half of them don't call you back. The other half can only produce, so many units per month, and it's way less than you need. So I think China is going to continue to be the manufacturing powerhouse.
Yeah, makes sense. Tim, what's your take?
It's been an interesting couple of weeks, an interesting day. I want to voice my philosophy a little bit, and a lot of us have mixed feelings. Brandon, I know that you were one of the first people. Danny was joking about the sky is falling and wearing your tinfoil hat.
Do you know what? I'm going to back Brandon here. Although sometimes his posts scare me and I want to mute him, he's been fucking right.
I know.
You can't argue. It's been fucking right.
Yeah.
It's just his delivery that scares me. I have to turn his speed off. No, I'm joking. Yeah.
So to my point is there is that side which is scary a little bit. But I also want to remind everybody that challenge presents opportunities, right? So think about this. An example I read recently was Facebook. In 2007, when the Great Recession started, think about how much Facebook grew. Facebook by 2009 was profitable, and they blew away Google, Yahoo, like all these different companies. They grew in the recession. Why? Because they were nimble, they were flexible, they weren't, too deep seated into their ways where they couldn't react and positively react. And that's us. Like as e-commerce sellers, as entrepreneurs, I don't care if you don't have your first product listed or if you're selling 10 million a year, we're still relatively small and nimble. And where big companies and where people that are not reactionary are going to struggle, where we're all going to struggle, actually, this is a big opportunity for us to grow. So right now, be thinking about how to be Facebook and not Google and react, right? Anything that creates a little bit of a difficulty is actually going to create more opportunities for us. I don't want to be political here, and I don't want to, I don't mean this critically, but like this morning, I was talking to a really large company that represents tens of thousands of sellers in China. And those sellers are having a big problem right now because generally they have to ship straight to FBA. They don't have 3PLs. They don't have the research, the fast response research that we do to change our products, to change our category, or the products that we sell our categories in. They don't have those abilities. So, we're trying to make lemon out of lemonade, where everybody, for years have been complaining about, oh, the Chinese are too competitive, they're beating us up on selling. Like, hey, let's take this opportunity and realize, hey, maybe we can be more flexible. It's just one more moat. It's just one more hurdle. And those of us that are resilient, that are flexible, that can outwork everybody, we should be able to come out of this stronger, right? There are a lot of opportunities right now that people are missing out on. I know Brandon was talking about toys. Toy sales have gone through the roof. I was talking to a company yesterday who has a lot of analytical data on sales, and they're seeing across all their tens of thousands of sellers an uptick of 43% in sales over the past 2 weeks over this time last year. 43%. Like, people are stocking out, which is great. But don't just think about toys, think about education. Think about how many people that are going to get into homeschooling, people that are going to get into like the STEM toys. Think about people that are sitting around at home bored for 2 weeks.
Those are terrible categories. You guys shouldn't do those.
Go on.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Those
are my categories. So I was just
all right. Okay. When it was going on, I thought we was going to start a little mini war on screen.
Yeah. I'm not saying sell STEM toys. I'm just saying be thinking outside the box of what is going to be an increased demand. The other day I was sitting around bored, nothing to do at home, one evening, and when I'd normally go out, and I started thinking about home improvement stuff. Like, my wife is stuck at home from work. Like, she's going to have a honey-do list. Like, think about hardware. Think about all this stuff that normally wouldn't have as big of a demand, and start tracking to see if that demand increases. Now, be careful when you're looking at new products because your data is going to be skewed. On top of this, like crazy amounts of stuff going out of stock, you're not going to be able to see as many of your competitors. Your keyword research is going to be skewed based on a very short-term trend, I think, that will eventually equalize. But also keep in mind that some of the research methods you use are a little bit skewed over the past 2 or 3 weeks from Amazon recategorizing stuff, right? So right now is a good opportunity to find new products, but measure twice and cut once, because a lot of your data right now is going to be very reactionary to an immediate crisis. Don't jump all in on a product like the keyword STEM toys or STEM educational toys just because you see a huge uptick, because you might look now and see very little competition because the top 50 sellers are completely out of stock, right? So make sure to take a little bit of time, do a little bit more vetting. Don't jump into something too quick, but be encouraged, because I think that those of us, like I said earlier, that can react to this appropriately have a big advantage over most of our competition.
So let's talk, we're kind of slipping into behaviors now. Liran, what are you seeing predicting next 6 months behavior-wise in terms of selling on Amazon, selecting products, being stuck at home? Like we had Michael Hartman whining before the call, say stuck in Romania.
I hate to tell you this, Danny. I got to jump, man. I got another call. It's been a busy day for me. So I wish you guys the best of luck.
Hold on, parting comments? Michael, parting comments. You got anything to say in terms of behaviors? What you see in the next 6 months before we disappear?
The survivors will survive. I mean, that's basically it. As long as what Tim said, you're going to adapt and be a true entrepreneur, you're going to find a solution for these issues. You're not going to stick there and get down in your gut, and you're going to find something to make your business work. And this is it, whatever that may be. And you'll just grind on. I mean, that's it.
Well said. Well said. Good luck in quarantine, and thank you for joining us.
All right, later.
Take care, mate. Bye. Sorry, Liran, back to you.
Yeah. So I think you need to think about, nobody can predict. Nobody knows exactly what the future is going to be, first of all, right? But I think this is a great time to step back and take the time now to make your business stronger when you come out ahead of this. I say, let's assume, right? There's going to be assumptions that you need to make. Let's assume that this is going to be the situation until July, August, September, right? Let's kind of take that assumption. And what are you going to do over this next period of time to make your business stronger coming out of this? If you ignored some things in your business that you know you should have done, inserts and trying to build an audience off your Amazon customers. What if you had a community right now on Facebook with an audience for people who are interested in your products that you can get in front of and just be there for them, whether it's related to your product or not related to your product? You'd be stronger. You'd be tying in a more emotional, deeper connection with that audience. And maybe they're not spending on your product now, but guess what? They're going to go ahead and support you when things get back to normal ahead of this. So what are the things that you could step back outside right now and say, okay, what's my roadmap going to be for the next 6 to 12 months of my business? How am I going to make how am I going to continue to innovate in the products that I have and in new products? What kind of customer promises, guarantees am I going to make? How am I going to generate sales? Should there be issues within Amazon? How am I creating raving fans, right? These are all things that they're not going to be items that are going to allow you to implement and have in your business tomorrow. But if you have the time now and you're sitting at home and you're not, in a way, we just all saved many thousands of or hundreds of hours. We're not going to Prosper, not going to Traffic and Conversion, not going to this other event in Florida. What am I doing? I'm here at home. Great. Gives me an opportunity to sit back and focus and work on my business and build out a plan for when you do get outside of this, on the other side of this, how are you going to come out ahead stronger? So I think you should be asking yourself these questions and coming up with solutions. Business is really, any business is about solving a problem. And so I think you now need to ask yourself some questions, and what problems are you going to solve and how are you going to make your business stronger? And if your business gets weaker throughout this, then what are the steps you're going to be taking to come out ahead of this? Nobody knows what the future holds, but I think, there's a saying that's, action over anxiety. I think right now is time to take action and not be paralyzed with fear.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we kept going over fear yesterday, but I think that is one of the mainstays that people have. The moment you get fear, you can't think creatively. If you can't think creatively, you don't become productive. If you're not productive, it's about how the pendulum swings, right? You need momentum. And so some days you might want to get up and put your head back under the cover, but that isn't going to solve the problem today or tomorrow. And it's the difference between the 1%. Me and you, Liran, and I say it all the time, we're part of the 1%. There's lots of people out there in that 1% that push the world forward. And we have to play our role into doing that. This is what this call's about. Yeah.
Let me give you some specific steps that I'm taking in my Amazon business. Right now, I have a meeting today. We have an inventory funding source, right? That we're looking to get a lot of inventory for Q4. We're putting together a plan for having a line of credit in place for a lot of inventory financing we want to do for the fourth quarter. We're putting together a video and a campaign for YouTube advertising and funnel, things that we haven't done in our business before, that we're saying, okay, now we have the time. Let's put together the plan. Let's implement these things in our business that we haven't done before. So the question for everybody watching is, what are you implementing in your business now that you have the time, now that you're sitting at home, now that you're not going out, Friday night, you're not going out to a restaurant, you're going to be home, you're going to have an extra hour, you're going to have an extra 2 hours. What are the things that you're going to, the reason why they say spending time or wasting time is a currency. How are you using that currency now to your advantage?
Yeah, makes sense.